LOD Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, is the joy of being a live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. Lovely to see folks as we begin to glide on into our good time meditation times. Excited to be here with you. Folks, what is going on? What is new? I see before we even started, Zechariah said, good morning. In Seattle, just about ready to fall asleep. Fall asleep. Well, don't fall asleep. Meditate with us. We're going to be meditating for about 25 minutes, and today's meditation is very special. So as you tell us where you're coming from, because this is what I want to know. I want to know, A, where you're coming from. First order of business. What's up, Gene coming in from Brooklyn, Rory from Kingston, Ontario. As you begin to let us know where you're coming from, I want to know something else, which is what the hell is going on in your life. Today's Freestyle Friday, so we are going to be making up, inventing, creating our very own meditation based on your challenges, difficulties, interests, opportunities, needs. So what is coming up in your meditation? What's of interest? What is going on in life? Folks who are just joining us here, if it's your first time here, let us know. We have a special way of greeting you. Jess BKK, welcome here to the stream. Lovely to have you as always. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Oh, who are we? Oh, we got someone coming in from Williamsburg. This is M. Lopez 125. Welcome, M. Lopez. And of course, M. Lopez, let us know if it is your first time here. Folks, excited to be here today. Excited for Freestyle Friday. It's always one of my faves. Yeah, what's going on, folks? What is new? What is happening? Had a super fun interview yesterday. I can't wait to tell you all about it. Hope you're all well. Calling from Great Britain, 2020 CL. Nice to see you. Where in Great Britain? Because I know that one of our friends is from Sheffield. Lewis, I believe, is from Sheffield. Waiting for Corona to let me live my life again. Yeah, trust me. I don't know if you know, but you're not the only one. We're just trying to see a movie. You know, we saw the movie Tenet at a drive-in, and I'll tell you what, it was so crazy good. It was like delirious making. We're thinking about driving 4 hours just to go see it again because it was so good. And I looked at the box office, sort of what happened on the box office weekend for that and Inception, because it's the same maker as Inception and similar sort of scale, this kind of thing. And it's like an incredible fraction. I think Inception had $90 million at the box office in the first weekend, and Tenet had like $15 million. And it's like such a bummer because I truly think that Tenet was much, much better. So anyway, that is a very minor detail. I'm sure people have much more pressing things to consider given coronavirus, but that's what I was thinking about 10 minutes before the stream. So M. Lopez says, yep, I did meditate with you on Mindful when was around here. Manuel, welcome. Off of work today, so you can join. Lovely to have you here. So this sounds like this is your first time here. Welcome. We have a very special way of welcoming folks who are their first time here. You'll find out in about a second here. We are very happy to have you here. Thanks for coming, as always. And if it's anyone joining us first time meditating, that is actually quite special. So let us know if it is, if that's the case. If it's not only your first time visiting us, but it's your first time meditating, that is helpful to know. Okay, so Nate, everyone, if you're just joining us, it's Freestyle Friday. Tell us what your challenges are, and we will build a meditation based around that. I see that some people want a meditation based around a bunch of colorful emojis. Okay, good to know. Okay, so Nate says, stress and anxiety about 1, working with things I can't control, and 2, intimacy expectations with spouses. Intimacy expectations with spouses. Okay, it's tougher to get. I typically have to break it down a little bit. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate everyone welcoming our good friend here, just joining us now for the first time. M. Lopez 125. Welcome. Great to see you. Glad you're here. Social anxiety, general stress with everything that's going on. Okay, so we have COVID stress and sort of waiting for life to get back to normal. We have general anxiety, general stress, and then we have a couple things here from Nate. Stress and anxiety related to things you can't control, and intimacy. Basically, we'll talk about that in terms of relationships. So stress and anxiety related to relationships, stress and anxiety related to life. A lot of things here. This is going to be an interesting way to see if how do we pull these things together. Another issue that we have, of course, is the building is under construction, so occasionally you're going to hear some crumpling and dumpling, some drilling and spilling, some hammering and smammering. All of these are going to be part of the general texture of what it means to be on this particular live stream. But that's okay, we can survive. There are many a meditation skill we can use to get through that challenge. Folks, find a nice comfortable position. That's what I want you to do. Stress and impact on immune system. Okay, that's good. That helps me actually clarify a little bit. Every time I'm bored, a little voice inside me says, what are you waiting for? You could awaken right now. I never do, though. Well, listen, we want to look at awakening from a scalable position. All you need to do to wake up, right? Let's not create something mystical that some future self could possibly attain. Let's find something that's attainable right now. Just be conscious of your experience of your current environment, of what life looks like, of what it feels like, etc. And it's a miniature version of the waking up process. So don't be too hard on yourself. Remember that waking up is really built out of this particular set of experiences right now. Nothing magical or extra worldly about it needed. None of that needed. Okay, so what you said, M. Lopez, is actually very helpful. Stress and its impact on the immune system. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do here, because stress seems to be a big topic here. For some reason, people seem to be stressed. I don't know why, but whatever. Must be something in the water, or maybe there was a bad TV show on last night and everyone feels stressed. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is find a nice comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the practice. That means that you're going to arrange your body well so you don't have to move. The way that we do this, if you're going to be seated, is sitting at the edge of whatever you're sitting on. And so if this is these are your hips, and you're facing this way. These are your hips. You sit on something at the edge. It allows the hips to rock forward just slightly, which allows the spine behind it to balance on those downward facing hips, and then above that the spine can balance the other way, rounding, balancing, with no need to use our muscle power. Okay, so finding that nice comfortable position, folks, and when you're ready, we'll begin. I'm going to encourage folks to stay entirely still without moving at all, not one little tiny muscle except for involuntary movements like breathing. However, this is a weird order, especially for people who may have any kind of overwhelm that might arise. Very important to listen to that, and if you feel like you need to move, you can always just adjust. Not a problem. However, what I'm going to recommend is that if you need to move, wait at least 3 to 60 seconds before you do so, being sure that you do so mindfully. I'm just messing with the recorder here. Okay, excellente. Nate reminded me, which is helpful. All of these are on playback. You can, if you want to type * links in the chat, it'll send you all the links. The bottom link there, our second YouTube channel, is where all these playbacks are there. Hundreds of these things at this point. Got to be hundreds. Seriously, we have hundreds of guided meditations at this point. Lots of fun, lots of good times. So folks, finding that nice comfortable position, arranging the body so it's able to be still for the duration of the sit, making any little micro adjustments you might need to. I'm going to talk like this for the rest of the guided meditation, whether it drives you freaking nuts or not. That's not true. Okay, folks, finding that nice comfy one, and when you're ready, did I just break my striker? Little striker break. Fragile little buddy. When you're ready, we will begin. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths and just feeling the body rise and fall. Each time we arrive at a meditation, we arrive with the momentum of all of the previous moments. So if we were racing to get here, it's likely that the body will be full of energy and the mind will be active, jumping from sensation to sensation easily, quickly. So as we're observing the rising and falling of the body and the breath, physically relaxing the body, know that part of what we're trying to do is alter this momentum by simply attending to what is occurring now. No need to fight, just noticing this particular experience. If we're arriving at this meditation having used up a great deal of energy or physically tired, the body will be more physically relaxed, but it's possible the mind may become dull. And we want to avoid this, so we're attending to the clarity of this particular moment, the unique experience of this exact moment. The mind will tell us, I've experienced this before, no need to pay particular attention to these sensations. So we just want to veto that tendency. And notice the way the mind perceives. It sees this exact moment. It either sees that or it's unconscious, caught in thought or simply drifting. But whatever sensory experience can be detected is being detected in this particular moment. That fades away and some other sense data arises in this particular moment. Noticing that experientially, it's as though we're at the end of a stream of water, just seeing what appears. Like the opening of a hose, this moment comes into experience, moves along, and again a new experience arises. And we we can open up our awareness to include all of our sense experience, all hearing, all seeing, even if it's just the darkness of closed eyes, all body sensation as one large collective. The mind can zoom in, it can separate out these pieces, but we're observing this in a different way. Taking a kind of snapshot of the entire current moment. Not getting fussy or worrying about capturing every tiny detail. We're not worried about details, we're worried about an overall sense. No need to grab more information. Whatever sense data is easily available is more than enough. And what we're experiencing is the result. It's the outcome. The outcome of what? Well, every moment that's preceded it. Every decision we've made in our lives. Every external factor that we had no control over. All of these spilling out into this current experience. And these past experiences are unknowable. The combinations, countless. We couldn't even imagine all the factors that came together for us to be able to perceive this particular moment. But we can see the result. What would it feel like, sound like, look like, if the momentum of a lifetime were spilling out into one particular moment? It would look precisely, exactly like this extremely unique experience. What would the experience be if life itself developed for billions and billions and billions of years into the form of a human body-mind with consciousness, with perception? What is that experience? There's precisely one answer. It's this constellation of sense data, this entirely unique arrangement of seeing, hearing, and feeling. Our perception shows us one point, one arrangement of sense data. And this point, this constellation is new. It's never been experienced, and in fact never can be experienced by anyone or anything else. And at any given moment, we only have that chance to discover that unique quality. That singular expression. Never before, never again. This combination of the mind, mental audio, mental visual, our sense of a self, of inside and outside, a sense of time, our emotions, our ability to feel joy or awe or sadness, frustration, anxiety. The unbelievable level of detail of body sensations. Not only does this body breathe, circulate blood, not only does it digest, but we can detect these things. We can notice these sensations. We can detect gravity pulling down on the body, creating pressure where we rest. And temperature in places where the body is covered in fabric, near places where it is not. We may even feel aches or pains. the sounds, not only of our mind, but of our environment. Including the quiet, the ground that makes all of the other sounds possible to hear. Seeing either the darkness of closed eyes or the eyes resting on a single point. Either way, seeing the complexity, the richness of human seeing, including our sense of space, of arrangement, the way the mind organizes the world, up, down, left, right, front, back. Any of these alone would be marvelous, impossible. So taking a moment to allow just a little bit of awe at this combined tapestry. Perhaps even a little gratitude. In the mind, we might even say, thank you. Thank you. Not only that we are able to experience all of these rich sensations, but the fact that even among this richness, we can also feel gratitude. Even our capacity to feel grateful is part of this same complex tapestry. So let's tune into any sense of gratitude, any sense of appreciation. If we can, noticing where we experience this in the body. If it supports this process, feeling free to continue a phrase of gratitude. Perhaps just a thank you. Thank you. Not worrying about who we're directing it towards, just for the honor of being able to observe and participate in this sense experience. Zeroing in on how unique, how particular the experience of gratitude is. Not thinking about it, but feeling it. would be such a loss if we weren't capable of experiencing gratitude. So taking a moment to cherish even the capacity honing in on the particularity of this experience. The sensation of gratitude as it arises in the body. And if we're not detecting any gratitude, that's fine. Picking anything else that you'd like to explore. Any other sensation. And perhaps being grateful that you have access to it. Often we can shrink the mind down to the size of our problems, our difficulties. And often one way out is to simply change the scale of our experience, including more. Our difficult emotions are important. We don't want to deny them, try to erase them. And at the same time, it's important to know them in context. To know that they're part of a complex tapestry of human experiencing. The expressive point, the result, the accumulation of billions and billions of countless circumstances coming together to allow us to perceive this moment. Our perspective on the world is something we cultivate. So taking this moment to cultivate something that is a little bit larger, a little bit more nuanced than just our challenges. And we will remain in stillness, remain in practice until the bell goes silent. Noticing the system anticipating, expecting, producing a palette of future. We imagine ourselves stepping into the moment of the end of our practice. But it's important that we see this in context, allowing a tiny bit of light to enter the eyes, eventually allowing the eyes to rest on a single point as they fully open. What would all of these forces, all of these streams of momentum look like, sound like, feel like? And letting this moment show us the one answer. And teaching us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. Well, that was fun. Let me know what happened. If you've been here before, you've heard me say things like this or similar to this. Ooh. Be sure to allow yourself to unfold or adjust in any way that would be comfy for you. So you've heard me say things like this many times. It's so important to share what happened inside your practice. It's so essential. Not only that, but it's super fun for me. And it gives me an opportunity to explore this material more deeply with you and find out what happened inside that little noggin of yours, inside that domicile you call a body. What was that like? What happened? And what are you like now? If you'd like to chat by voice, that is available as well. That is, you just let me know, and I'll pop open the our Zoom interface here. I have a very sleepy leg. It's okay, little leggy. He'll be okay. But you know, I realize I think our Pupple Up is out. Yeah. Let me see if we can get a little little cuteness hit from the old puppy. Our puppy has reached a new stage, which we really, really appreciate. She's just sleepy. She just sleeps on the couch, and then she'll play with us, and she sleeps, and she'll play. She used to just be insane, just like bouncing off the walls. Nothing could ever happen. It was just like constant chewing and freaking around. But this shift is very lovely, so now we actually have to get her to get off the couch. Let's see if we can catch this little pup. Got a little toy here, a little strawberry. Come on, puppy. Sila. Where is Puppo? This usually is more than enough to get the dog prancing over here. Sila, come on. I think she's here on the couch. She's sleepy. Well, maybe she won't come, but we'll see. Okay. I'm going to shout to get her or make a lot of squeaky noises. Hold on one sec. Nothing. I'm surprised. All right. Well, there it is. Okay. Rory says, Janusz, I appreciate the focus on gratitude this weekend. Is Thanksgiving in Canada? Well, very cool. Exciting. What's the lore of Canadian Thanksgiving? I sort of don't know. I know the sort of generic American story, which has been sort of distorted to seem very Anglo appreciative. Yeah, so what was that like? And folks, especially the folks who said that they had challenges specifically with stress, anxiety, worry, these kind of things, how did that hit you? how did that land? It's one of my favorite practices. It's actually the practice that this live stream is named after, which is the joy of being alive. I think that for me that's pretty central in meditation, is to train people to actually enjoy just the experience of existing, because it's really, really sweet if you can do that. And it's really it's not that hard, because existing is pretty fucking dope if you tune in there. It's harvest time right now. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Harvest time. All right. Okay. So we have Just BKK saying, very smooth session. Lovely. Smooth is always fun. Since I started meditating, I have trouble doing things while sitting. I have trouble doing in while sitting. At some point I can feel the body. I can't feel the body anymore and feel overwhelmed. Okay, this is very important. Good detail here. I feel overwhelmed, but when meditating while lying down, I fall asleep. Okay, so overwhelm is an indication that we're pushing the system a little bit too far. Overwhelm is the system turning up to 11, being like, rah, rah, because we're not listening to it at a 5. The dog is moving. Sila. Oh, here she comes. Come on, Sila. I want the puppy so goddamn bad. So I got a puppy so I can snuggle with you and show you off and be cute with you. Sila, come. She's like asleep, so she's like on the couch, like confused, like, how do you get off the couch? Hope this is fun for everyone else. Come on, Sila. Come on, baby. All right, she'll come eventually. Okay, let's go back to this. I want to make sure I answer your question thoroughly. Okay, so, who is it? Come here, little baby. Come here. What this? Okay, I've got to entice her. She's like sitting a foot away from me. Here she is. Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha. You little schnapper. She's a schnapper. She always gets so caught up in all the wires. It's like she's like immediately like in a storm of wires. Okay, picking you up slowly from your butt so you don't freak out. Oh, look who it is. It's Sila. Hello. Say hello to everybody. Go ahead. Just say something. Just say anything. Come on, Jesus Christ, I spent all this time caring for you and feeding you. You won't even say a single word. Just say hello or something. I'm sorry, guys. This puppy is so snuggly. I just want to snuggle it all the time. She's a sweetie. She'll huff a little. She'll huff and puff a little. Okay. Many great reports here. Okay, so getting back to your question, I feel bad because I'm talking about overwhelm and I'm just like here playing with the puppy. Puppies are pretty good for dismantling overwhelm, is my general experience. We have a new subscriber. ML Lopez 125, thank you so much for subscribing. Very kind of you here. Here's our over-the-shoulder doggy. Okay, so, all right, let's get back to the show, folks. The puppy time's over. I'm sorry. I know you're all, I don't care how much you want the puppy. We're going to get back to answering questions here. Okay, back to the questions. So, just BKK, overwhelm is an indication that there's too much of something coming up. Now you say, I can't feel the body anymore and I feel overwhelmed. So a couple things. One is that, question for me is the overwhelm occurring because you can't feel the body? It's like, there's no body and the system gets overwhelmed. The first thing to notice is that that's fine. If you can't feel the body, it doesn't really matter. In fact, people do sensory deprivation tanks and all this stuff to let the body sort of disappear. This is a normal thing that'll happen for anyone. Different senses will kind of come and go. It'll sort of be a weird, constellation of different sense points, but that's very normal, especially if we stay still. The system will tend to show us weird things in the sense data sort of arrangement. So that's totally normal. The overwhelm, just try to see if you can kind of dial it back a little bit. So instead of it being like, oh my God, I'm totally overwhelmed, I need to stop practicing, maybe you crack the eyes a little bit, let a little bit of light in. Maybe you practice with the eyes open entirely. Now the dog's awake and wants lots of pets. Maybe you practice with the eyes open. Maybe that's the next thing. Just let the eyes settle on a single point is a perfectly good way to practice. And if you find that overwhelm keeps occurring, let me know. But I'm actually hoping to put out some videos on doing trauma-informed practice. So interesting, great work, and very excited to hear from you about how that plays out. But just try that. Just try to practice with the eyes open and see if that actually cuts through the overwhelm. Julia's Twitch account says, before, restless body and mind; during, body relaxed, mind racing, tried not to effort. Great. Just to relax, get through it. That's perfect. Glad to hear that. And again, it's, our attitude and our relationship to the world is one we cultivate. And that's the process of classical awakening, is we're cultivating the system to notice and stay with certain experiences over and over and over and over again. And it says, I'm really enjoying the continued practice of zooming out from a situation to the reality of just existing. Yeah, it's lovely. Just being able to zoom past, like our mind, like I said this during the guided meditation, but our mind shrinks down to the size of our problems. Our mind shrinks down to the size of our perspective, which seems sort of obvious. Of course, my mind is at my perspective, but we can include so much more. And something that's pretty powerful about our senses is that everything that we're experiencing is built out of our senses. Given, we all know that if we, went to kindergarten, but we don't really experience that. We experience it as just like, this person didn't like me and this thing, and our mind is spinning around. But it's all built out of our senses. And if we look at our senses carefully, they are very neutral. Seeing is neutral. Body sensations can be pleasant and unpleasant, but they're not like against us. They're just unpleasant sensations. So everything we experience is neutral at its core. So that's very powerful, and that can change the way we experience the world. So that's great. Lovely to hear that. M. Lopez says, gratitude brings warm feelings to my heart chakra area and expands from there. It's a beautiful feeling. Lovely. I don't know a ton about the chakras, but I'm guessing the heart chakra is somewhere around the old heart zone. I think it's that. I'm not big on the Hindu side, so I don't know a ton about chakras. Existing is pretty effing dope if you're really there. Yeah, that's my experience. That's great. I guess that's a quote. I didn't even realize I said that. Jean says, I'm still processing, but I really enjoyed that and feel very relaxed and in a good mood now. Mundane. I changed my leg position slightly and suddenly felt like I had a really good physical base. So I was, we'll sit like that again. Yeah, it's amazing how subtle changes in our posture can really change everything. And sometimes I want to sit down with people and be like, no, your leg a little more this way or that way. But the biggest thing, I've said this a million times, but for years I struggled with my posture so much until I realized that the knees have to be lower than the hips and allow the hips to rock down. It's such a small movement, like literally in the hips. It's like from here to here. And it makes the complete and total difference. So yeah, there's that. 2020 CL says, thank you. That was like a reset from gloom and doom. Grateful of the Big Bang. Yeah, it's interesting. At some point, it was in class recently that I was guiding, I realized this sort of thing that seemed pretty significant to me, that our current experience is this sort of vanguard or like leading edge of all of the causes of the universe, like the cosmic forces of stardust and blah, 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 like all the kind of stuff that's a little mystical. If there was a way to like read all of these different forces, all of the forces of a human decision making over the course of a lifetime, all of the ancestral forces, all of these things, read like one node of all of these forces coming in, happening, and what that experience would be like. Well, we actually have that capacity to do that. We have access to what is the readout of all of these cosmic forces and biological forces and mental forces and societal forces. This is that readout. And so it's like really, really cool from that perspective. Artie Castiadio, hello, welcome. Nice to see you here, Artie. Nice to have you. Folks, so we have reached the point at which, I'd love to hear some more questions or challenges or whatever. If anyone wants to jump on the Zoom, I'm here for it too. New appreciation again, just one more time for M. Lopez for the Tier 1 subscription. Very kind of you. Love that. Very appreciative. What else? Any other questions, challenges, difficulties, interest, opportunities, needs, anything else? My dog has this new thing where she's like, yes, play. I feel like I have to show you. It looked like half the people dropped off when I pulled the dog out. So, but this thing, she won't let me do it now. We're on camera. She feels very shy. She has a thing where she she likes when I play with her teeth. Boop, 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 boop. So I'm just like pressing on her teeth and like shaking her skull. She's like, this is so much fun. I don't know why. Is that a normal dog thing where they want you to hold their teeth and shake their skull? Brian 6024 says, what do you usually use to sit on? Great question. Jean says, I use a Zafu pillow. So there's a weird set of terms for the pillow and cushion. The pillow and the cushion that goes under the pillow that people use. Zafu and Zabuton. Don't know why they're called that. Not just like a meditation cushion and, meditation pillow or something. But I sit on a buckwheat meditation cushion. If I show you it, it will then make me much lower. So we'll see how that goes. Wow. Okay, just shrink here. So this is my cushion. It is not black, which always disappoints me a little, but I live with it. It's extra stuffed because I am a giant person, so I tend to like to be a little bit taller. But I also like the buckwheat because it's hard, it's firm, but it's also like it'll adjust. So those are my personal preferences. Some people like the cotton ones, some people like whatever. But what I do say in general is find something that allows your knees to be lower than your hips. So something like if you sit in a chair is great. So forget, cushion, whatever. You don't get enlightened any faster on the floor. And people often don't know the reason all of the depictions of like the Buddha and these different people are sitting on the floor is because literally chairs weren't invented. It's like such a dumb analog reason for that. So if you sit in a chair, great. Just make sure that your knees are lower than your hips. Sit at the edge of the edge of the chair, edge of the cushion. So maybe even without back support. Often that's actually better if you can learn to balance the spine rather than having to lean on something. Now, of course, you make adjustments depending on your body, but some way that your knees are lower than your hips rock forward just slightly. That will make a massive difference. And then the rest is just balance from there down. You can also practice lying down, but like some people mentioned, if you're sleepy at all, boy, that's going to take you down. Oh no, I'm so sorry, folks. I haven't transitioned here, so no one can see any of the chat here. Sorry about that. Okay, Artie Castiello says, that's a little strange to drop specifically because I haven't been here much, but I relapsed on pornography. Okay, great. Thank you for thanks for being honest. Are there any tips for better focus on sexual energy when I don't have much contact with other people in the current situation? Okay, so this is a great question. This is a time-tested, important question. I'm going to talk about when you're talking about pornography, I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of addiction in general. So here's my general perspective on addiction. First of all, be aware that I have, recovered from straight on alcohol and drug addiction. I could paint that as a pretty picture. That would be, false. In my teens and 20s, I was like, use substances to manage my relationship to reality. And at some point, I lost the ability to decide when I was doing it or not. So I've been entirely sober for 15 or 16 years now, coming on 15 and a half. Or wait, no, maybe 16 and a half. I got to do my math. So the point, 16 and a half. So the point is, though, that I have a little bit of experience. I also have experience with an interest of managing specifically around sexual energy. And there was a period where I think I did, it was 9 or 10 months. I was kind of trying to do a year, but then I ended up getting into a relationship, so that didn't really work out. But I wanted to see if I could actually, and I'm not suggesting this, but it's just, again, to get a little bit of background, to end or sort of blunt all sexual energy of any kind. So that meant like all the way to the point of like not thinking about sex. And that was hard to not even and not flirt. That was like taking all of those things off the table as a, 30 something, single person was super intense. And my experience was it felt like it made reality like light up in a way that was like very, very noticeable. I really, really could detect the experience of existing in a way that was very powerful. Sort of interested in the way monks had to do that and sort of experimenting with that for myself is really powerful, but that's not my suggestion. Here's what I would suggest, or here's the way I would point at it. My current feeling and belief about addiction is that what's happening is there's a need in the system. The need is not being met. And so that need has to be met somehow. The system is going to have that need met. So right now my puppy here needs to play. She's going to play no matter what. If she doesn't have a good toy around, she's going to pick, my laptop and use that as a toy. So part of the premise is to find out, to seek and discover deep down what that need is and get that need met. It will no longer have a need to act in a way that is harmful to you or harmful to others. This is, for my opinion, what like 12-step recovery is based around. Now, it's also worth noting right now, I've been involved ever since my early 20s with 12-step recovery, still am, and all 12-step meetings basically right now are open to the public, so you can go to a meeting from New York City if you want, or a meeting in LA, wherever you are, because they're all just Zoom meetings now. So that's another just factoid that might be of interest. And there's, for any possible addiction or whatever, those exist. But in that context, someone who is who has addiction, someone who is substance dependent of any kind or behavior dependent, what ends up happening is you come into this place with these strangers you've never met before, and they tend to what happens is that the process tends to fill a number of needs. A need for community, a need for a sense of purpose, because a lot of 12-step is actually about helping other people. You're actually supporting others who need support. A need for a sense of belonging, and that you're a need for a sense of sort of grounding in morality, which is a very central. My dog is really going crazy here. I woke the beast. A sense of morality, a sense of right and wrong, because it is very much based in looking at our own behavior and seeing how it can improve that in order to make the lives of others easier and to help people. And it seems like such a weird diagonal thing of like, why would that have to do with addiction? But the discovery was, back in the 30s, that by helping other people and by talking honestly about our own experience, it makes it possible for us to not use that behavior or substance or that kind of thing. So ultimately what I'd suggest is find a way to find what that need is. What is that underlying need? That might mean a lot of talking to people, a lot of self-searching. We have on our playback channel here, and I'll put the links in here now. There's a playlist there called the Multiple Self Model, and that is an opportunity to, that's sort of going through this material, specifically looking at these aspects of ourself and finding out what the underlying need is. That's the thrust of that practice in general. So that's generally my suggestion. The other thing that I would say is a definition of addiction that I really appreciate is from a teacher named George Haas, and he said, addiction is the illusion that we can find fulfillment alone. So human beings are fundamentally, by their nature, wired to have human connections, to experience our emotions with each other. We're really wired. Our evolution is, 20 people on a, savanna plain who will be born and die together in a group. And so every tragedy is a group tragedy. Every success is a group success. And that's really how our brain and our physiology is wired. So don't think that this is a solo project. It's really not. And what I like to say sometimes is, if I could have done it alone, I would have done it a long time ago. And so often it's a case of really needing to look for support and look for help. And that's and just connection, just other people to talk to it about, just like you're doing right now. Hey, this is what's going on with me. So that is very, very appreciated. So hopefully that's a helpful answer on what to do in particular with this kind of addiction, but any addiction in general. And of course, always reach out if you have further questions. We have our Discord, which I believe is this link. And you're welcome to join there, ask questions, and or reach out to me in any other way. So thank you so much for that question. Okay, folks, again, lovely to see you. It is Freaky Friday. It is Fantastic Friday. What my suggestion is come on back Monday. We're going to have a very exciting Monday. We're going to be doing some meditation. You guessed it, suckos. That's right. We're going to practice, meditate. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your question. Really great question. But before we disappear and drift away into the ether of the complex flow of human experiencing that we call our Friday, I want to make a little birthday wish for you. I know today is I looked on the calendar and I know it's either your birthday or your unbirthday. So this is my wish to you, is that right now in this particular moment, soaking into the complexity and the richness of being a human being, all of the personality that you bring to this experience, and all of the memories and fantasies, dreams, curiosities, challenges, difficulties, joys, all those complexities, and recognize that while our experience is deeply unique, we share that uniqueness with every other person. We all have challenges, difficulties, interest, opportunities, needs. We all want to live a more fulfilling life. And so in this moment, just finding anything that's pleasant, anything that is worth being grateful for, even the fact that you can feel gratitude, connecting with that, knowing that our perspective is something we cultivate. And it is a pleasure, as always, to cultivate and to develop this way of relating to the world with you here now. So folks, as always, practice well. Take care of each other. Be sure to have fun, and we will see you very, very soon.